once again. Time to take another look at the story of the Green Goblin. And, well, this is one of the more famous covers of the ongoing battle between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. And in this issue, where his secret identity is revealed as he discovers the secret identity of Spider-Man. Yeah. So this, of course, is how I read it in this reprint form from the Marvel Tales series. And as we see here on the splash page, the original was Amazing Spider-Man 39. So there we go. Steve Ditko was gone. He had moved on. That's a whole other story. And so John Romita here, called Jazzy Johnny Romita, took over. And really, a large thing, because, Steve Ditko is not just co-creator. He's more of the influence on Spider-Man than Stan Lee was in a lot of ways. But John Romita's drawings of Spider-Man, when you saw like Spider-Man toothpaste or Spider-Man t-shirts, whatever, more times than not, for the most part, for decades, it was John Romita's art that depiction of Spider-Man is the one you knew the most. So anyway, how green was my goblin? Well, pretty green, except for its clothes. That's, well, I would have said purple. This looks a little more, violet? I don't know. But he's pretty green. Yeah. So attention, all winds spinners. Be prepared for more startling surprise developments than you've ever seen in any single Spidey spectacular before. We went all out on this one, so buckle your seatbelts and away we go. By now, that web-crawling weasel must have forgotten all about the Green Goblin. Therefore, this is the perfect time for me to strike and to get the revenge that my soul is hungering for. So there you go. Spider-Man's identity still a mystery. Well, for the public at large, it will remain a mystery, but not for the Green Goblin. So here we go. There he is in his secret hideout and all that. See, it's just a mask. He doesn't turn into a monster. All during the speedy, hair-raising flight back to his hideout, the mysterious Green Goblin works himself into a veritable frenzy as he recollects his previous battles with Spider-Man until, I've waited long enough. There will never be a better time to destroy my most hated enemy than now. Everything is in my favor. I have the power, the skill, and the priceless element of surprise. But merely destroying him, simply crushing him like a worm, will not give me enough satisfaction. I must do still more than that. I guess that's the door to his little refrigerator, getting a beer. Anyway, first I'll toy with him. Outsmart him every step of the way as only the Goblin can. Then, before delivering the final stroke, I'll administer the most humiliating blow of all. I'll learn his secret identity and reveal it to all the world. Then, and only then, I'll finish him forever. My little bag of tricks is fully loaded, and my stun bombs are more potent than ever. If I didn't despise that miserable masked misanthrope so much, I'd almost pity him because of what's in store. I've modified my rocket-powered flying broomstick so that it's faster and more maneuverable than ever. Yeah, originally it was basically a rocket that was supposed to look like a broomstick, but it made more sense to have the wings so he could put his feet somewhere rather than, straddling a broomstick. But it was in keeping with the Halloween theme, but, But all the while, Batman wishes he had thought of this. But Goblin did it first. Had I not been so careless and so overconfident in the past, I could have beaten Spider-Man even then. But now, the outcome is a foregone conclusion. He hasn't a chance. Oh, no. What's in store for Spidey? Well, meanwhile, his His soap opera continues, now in college. I never thought of it this way before, but she's my only relative. She's all the family I have. Aunt May's sick again. That's Peter Parker. Now remember, Flash, we all decided to act friendly on him. Hi, Pete. How's it going? See anything of Harry Osborn? Huh. Looks to me like you're wasting your time. Parker's not buying. Let's face it, he's the original cold-shouldered kid. If he wants to be a loner, let him. What's it to us? I just don't understand him. Sometimes he's as friendly as a puppy. I knew it was a mistake. That guy's like nowhere. Well, here's where I get out. Thanks for the lift, Dad. Is anything wrong, Dad? You hardly said a word all the way from the house here. There's nothing wrong. Did you want me to give you a lift or deliver a speech on the way? I didn't mean to get you angry. I was just wondering. Well, don't wonder. It costs me a fortune to keep you in college, so try thinking about your studies once in a while. Everything I say or do seems to displease him. If only I knew what was wrong. Hey, there he is now. Hey, Harry. All bets are off about puny Parker. He's as hopeless as ever. What's gotten into him? Holy smoke! Now he's making with the I don't know you from Adam bit. I don't know what's got Parker's got, but we better put him in quarantine. It's turning into an epidemic. If he's in trouble, if he needs anything, why won't he tell me? I'm only a college student, but maybe I can help. Never saw Osborn so quiet. Normally, he'd have tossed a dozen insults my way by now. What's the matter, Harry? Anything wrong? Aren't you feeling well? I'm okay, Parker. Is it any of your business whether or not I forget it. I didn't mean to snap at you. Wow. Something must really be bugging him. He's almost acting human. See, originally Harry and Peter were not buddies. He was more in Flash's crowd at college and would pick on him all the time. But after this, they become best friends. Even roommates. So anyway, we jump ahead and the Green Goblin has hatched his plan. And there's a robbery atop the Empire State Building and Spider-Man's got to stop it. Spider Sense, I love you. Even though this is a ball, I've got to end it quickly. Can't take a chance of accidentally getting her for Aunt May's sake. It's no use, we can't outfight him. We've got to use the gimmick. Hurry, get the door. Won't get you yet, Bash Man. Gimmick? What's he talking about? What are they up to? This is it. Wise guy, that blasted spider strength of yours ain't gonna help you now. Climb up, Blackie. I'll give him the gimmick. Here, smart guy, we've had this all ready and waiting just for you. So just stand there and take a nice deep breath. Make believe like it's perfume. Some sort of odorless billowing gas. What does it mean? What have I blundered into? You did it! You got him now! And high above the scene of battle, a sinisterly smirking spectator slyly spies upon the startled Spider-Man. Everything went perfectly according to plan. My chopped-up robbery attracted him as I knew it would. And the gas he has just inhaled weakened all his senses, including his most potent weapon, his spider sense. Then, with his spider sense not functioning, I'll be able to humble him at will. So there you go, and this chemical or whatever will come up later on, too. Yeah, the Green Goblin was good with messing with Spider-Man's powers. Anyway, but most of all, that business with the gas, he beat the guys, obviously, really sinks me. Why didn't it do whatever it was supposed to do? Or did it? It did. Without me knowing it. Oh, well, I'd better take my clothes from where I left them and head for home. Thanks to my spider sense, I don't have to worry about these quick change sessions. If anyone was watching me, I'd be aware of it. But no one's apt to see me here in the shadows of this old deserted building. Wonder if I'd get kicked out of the Superheroes Union for not using a phone booth. But Even as the weary though contented youth silently transforms himself into Peter Parker again, a pair of merciless, malevolent eyes observe his every move.
It worked, just as I knew it would. My specially prepared gas weakened his spider sense without him realizing it. Thus, the Green Goblin will be the first to learn Spider-Man's real identity.
It's incredible. He's just a kid. Can't be more than 19 or 20. I'd never have guessed. I'd better get home now. I don't want Aunt May to worry about me, especially after what Doc Bromwell said. Again, she's sick. Again. I could have sworn I heard a rustling above me, like some big bird flying by. I probably should have looked, but, I'm too busy putting my shirt on. But why didn't my spider sense tingle? It should have reacted long before my ears picked up the sound. Come on, Parker, get a grip on yourself. You're so used to being in trouble that when you're not, you start imagining things. Next thing I know, I'll start seeing goofy costume supervillains who aren't there. Yeah.
That's it, little man. Head for home, so that the gallivanting Green Goblin can see where you live.
Anyway, my cold seems to have gotten better.
He's got a cold. I better keep my distance.
It's strange how my thoughts keep returning to my spider sense as though something deep inside my brain is trying to tell me something. But what could it be? Yeah, Spider-Man was something of an idiot back in the early days. Even if someone were to see me now, I'd just be an ordinary college kid, probably returning home from a late date. Wouldn't I love that to be true? Why in blazes do I feel so jittery all of a sudden? I seem to remember the last time I had this feeling. It was a few weeks ago when I fought Professor Strom and those deadly robots of his. I can see it all in my mind's eye now, clear as a picture. While I was battling with Strom, I sensed a gunman at the window above. I just had time to push both of us out of the line of fire. My spider sense is tingling. A gun at the window. Oh, look out! Another second would have been too late. He's all set to fire. Whoever it is, I can't let him get away. Gee, I wonder who could have positioned themselves at that. By the time I reached the window, it doesn't make sense. It only took me 2 seconds to get up here. How could he have vanished so soon? He flew away on his glider. Probably should have had this shadow over it. But anyway, that was when I first began to doubt my spider sense. Had there really been someone at the window? If so, how did he escape so quickly? Or was my spider sense beginning to fail me? I wonder if I'll ever know.
What's this? He's not going home? He's entering the Daily Bugle building? He can't possibly live there, can he? Well, no matter. I can afford to wait.
Well, there's a big battle. And Peter gets kidnapped by the Green Goblin. He could have fought him off, but he was a bit hampered by the fact that he didn't want to because he was outside his Aunt May's house, and he didn't want to make the noise that could frighten her and cause her to have a heart attack. So that's the typical situation for Parker. So exactly 40 seconds later, from that fight, I might be able to break these steel alloy bonds if I have enough time. But how much time will they give me?
You're probably wondering what fate I have in store for you. Well, rest assured, it will be one you deserve.
I've got to stall for time, somehow. You might as well finish me off right now, because if you delay, I'll end up beating you, as I did in the past.
You never beat me! Those were just accidents. You hear? Accidents. You can't rush me now. You'll never escape.
It's working. His insane pride won't let him do what I suggested.
And now, before you meet your end, I've one final surprise in store for you.
That's it. Keep talking, bragging, ranting, anything. Just so long as I have a little while longer to strain against these coils.
since you'll never live to betray me to another soul, it's only fitting that you learn the identity of the one who has beaten you. And so, at long last, the Green Goblin will introduce himself. Take a look, Parker. A good long look. It's the last face Spider-Man will ever see. It's the real face of the Green Goblin. The face of Norman Osborn.
Those features, that name. Of course, you're related to my own classmate. You're Harry Osborn's father. Next issue, Spidey saves the day. Oh, well, then we're good. Oh, man, how's he going to get out of this one? Well, we'll deal with that the next time I do a feature on the Green Goblin. So finally, there were some other comics that I did get to read, but only one of them was new, and that was the annual for World's Finest. And I've had nothing but high praise of World's Finest, despite Mark Waid being the writer. Not a nice guy, but nevertheless, good work is good work. He does write a story here, but overall, the annual is very, very bland. The main story that Wade does features Batmite and Mr. Well, I always called him Mixelplick because of Super Friends, but of course that is not the proper pronunciation. His name is Mixes Pitalik, which sounds perverse. But it's them and a bunch of other imps that are fans of the Justice League, and each one dresses up like them. It's not that great of a story. It's silly, and yet it insinuates this will lead to something else down the road. So that I guess it's significant for that reason. The Metamorpho story is probably the best of the batch they have here. But it's, the basic problems that Metamorpho has. Apparently his father was Indiana Jones, although Montana Jones, whatever. He was an adventurous archaeologist type story. And it's fine. It's not too bad. It's pretty good, actually. The Bumblebee story is the most bland of the batch, and it's just a waste of time, really, and it's unfortunate. And then finally, Challengers of the Unknown. It's all right. It's kind of second in the running behind Metamorpho, but overall, the entire issue is pretty bland and not really worth the time. And that's too bad. The other two were facsimile editions that I checked out. The Spider-Man one is purely for the nostalgia of it all, in the sense that was the era I got into comics pretty serious. And that was the whole Secret Wars era and everything. And Spider-Man's costume he'd gotten the symbiote costume and all that. And this is one of the early issues of it. It's a very simple story of a football player who's being paid to throw a game. And this is the introduction of the Rose character, who became very significant through the Spider-Man stories. And through the Hobgoblin has a connection to the whole Goblin story. But here he is introduced in that, and that unfolds as you go. Plus, it features the art of Rick Leonardi, who was one of my favorite artists of the era, and all of that. So I'd never had this issue. I'd had others at the time. I'd had the one that not introduced, but featured Jack-o'-lantern in there, again, in the Hobgoblin mystery that was unfolding at the time. But didn't see this one. I had seen the references of the Rose becoming, but it was not introduced to him as you're supposed to. So there you go for that issue. Finally, Green Lantern. This is a facsimile of the issue that introduced John Stewart in the Green Lantern Corps. And the title Beware My Power. Of course, recently the Tomorrowverse animated movie did a Beware My Power story. It bears no resemblance to this. This one's a very Earth-based story. It does have lefty messaging, and as was typical of the 70s, the woke era, I think, prides themselves on having brought about issues, but they're doing cheap renditions of what had gone on before. But in the hands of a writer like Denny O'Neil, who was, a solid and skilled writer, you get a fairly solid story in this, and it's easily superior to the the animated film, and doesn't destroy Hal Jordan's character as the film does. But then again, so did the comics in the 90s with, Parallax and all that. But anyway, good read. And of course, it had some backup features with Green Arrow. Is all right. It's another story of him feeling sorry for himself and seeing himself as a Robin Hood and all that, and then deciding to run for mayor, to get things done and all that. And then there's a backup feature that's just a reprint of one of the 60s stories about why was Abin Sur in that spaceship? Well, it tells the tale. So there you go. That wraps this one up. And I should have new comics to read between now and next Wednesday. And when I've read them, I'll tell you all about it. Where? Why, here on the next episode of Mr. Nelson's Wednesday Comics.